In this episode, you'll learn why passion is fleeting and purpose is permanent, and how to build a life that doesn't collapse when the excitement fades. Welcome to Energy Alignment for Entrepreneurs, the podcast helping entrepreneurs be free from anxiety, stress, and tension through balancing emotions and consciousness expansion. Here's 3 things we're going to be looking at today. Number 1, why passion is a feeling that comes and goes, and why building on it guarantees failure. Number 2, how purpose, the thing you can't not do, differs from passion, the thing you feel excited about in the long game. This is number 3, the long game, showing up when the passion dies but the purpose remains. All right, big topic here in relationship to money, wealth, especially, but also in terms of actually building a business that you are excited about, yet it's a business, right? It's something that generates profit and revenue. So, number 1, passion being that feeling that comes and goes, and why building on it guarantees failure. Now, on one end, there is something simple, and that is the awareness of how do I feel after XYZ, right? 5 minutes after, 10 minutes after, 15, 20, 1 hour, 2 hours. How do the things that you participate in affect the rest of your day? I could give you a very simple example where if you work out right before bed, that's still, I'm not going to say it's bad or good, but physically, it's going to be harder to go to sleep because you just pumped up your body right before bed. Now, psychologically, that's probably going to feel good to do that workout. Now, if you do the workout to start your day, is there any different relationship to that action? I use working out because that's always been something fundamental for me. Just that's why I use that as an example. Now, when we're talking about passion and these feelings that come and go, and why building on passion solely guarantees failure, this is almost like Hermosi was saying, yeah, if you follow your passion, and then he brought up a Chris Rock quote of, yeah, follow your passion if your passion like has a market, if your passion sells. But then you very much, this is true, you cannot serve both money and God. So there has to be some intricacy in the way that you learn to earn money and have abundance, have wealth, not live via scarcity. God is not competing with money in your life. So, just to make this practical, to make it simple, to allow it to be applicable to your life, where you are, where you stand right now, whatever circumstance you may be in. It's in your power to be intelligent enough to look at structures and frameworks and to realize that maybe making money from passion isn't the purpose of the passion. In other words, for so long, I've been doing everything I can to get this message in front of as many people as possible. But I've come to a point, and I've battled with this for years, where I see clearly that there has to be some other form of income as entrepreneurship starts to compound. There comes a time where you will totally replace your full-time income with your entrepreneurial endeavors. But if you're working and you're not good enough and you're not getting the results that you know you can get, the only way that you don't quit is by having balance, right? So it's not to say that your passion cannot create income and wealth. It is to say that you're going to have to work, and you're going to have to work to reach this level of clarity in which you provide your service and it's aligned with your passion and you're making money through it. Now, I have a dog training friend, and we were speaking on this recently, where he's not actually that passionate about dog training. Dog training is his income. And you're going to have to see that and find that in your life too. For example, right now I'm doing masonry full time, 50 hours a week. Would I say that I'm passionate about masonry? I mean, to each is their own, but this is what I'm passionate about. Now, the main point here is really that you can make money through passion, but there's going to be a time where you're not making money through passion. And you have to kind of understand what's your main goal here, right? And my main goal with this podcast, with coaching, with helping others is just that. It's not to self embezzle myself so I can have golden toilets and say, look at me, I'm the one with the Lamborghini and you're not. You know what I mean? To me, that's shallow. It's not necessary. The only reason I see wealth coming into my life is so I can use the resources of that wealth to create abundance, health, clarity, power for others, not for myself. And that is, it's kind of like when you look at the Bible, there's the not 7 times you're going to forgive your brother, but 70 times 7. All right. And then also the things which you're given, when you sow seeds and you protect your garden and you value your homeostasis, your pH, your levels of alignment, your vibrations, your frequencies, that is what allows for the specific angles in which your passion aligns with supply and demand in economics. And you understand how to use psychology to actually market without turning like into this manipulative average Joe marketer. So what we're speaking on here is nuanced for sure. I'm talking in structures because my offer is going to be different than your offer. But fundamentally, I'm speaking to service providers. And in the space of providing a service to another individual, a group of people, there has to be this kind of dissolving of your ego where it's like, man, all right, I failed at this, I failed at this, I failed at this, I failed at this, but I'm not going to quit. What I'm going to do is pay attention to what gets attention and learn how to make sure that the message is pure. But I'm still going to be open minded to learning from others, right? So there are many different ways that we could speak on this point. Give me one sec. But ultimately, I'm going to use this as a bridge to hop into point number 2, which is how purpose, the thing you can't not do, differs from passion, the thing you feel excited about. So for me, purpose, zeal for what is, the alignment with the essence of that which is incommunicable, the awareness of the internal, the moment that Satan or darkness arises in thy mind. That, to me, is purpose. Again, that's something I can't not do. That's who I am. That being said, the things that make me feel excited aren't necessarily this. On one end, I know how I feel after doing this, and it is a continuous high ROI, return on investment, continuous fruit that gets instilled within my heart as I share. The reason I haven't quit, I've been doing this since 4 years, this podcast. Just this last year, I started to actually get traction, right? So shout out to all the new listeners. March of 2025, I was at like 150 downloads. March of 2026, we 10x'd 1,500 downloads. 1,500 isn't 150K. I don't care, right? It's one person at a time. And you've heard this, I'm sure, if you're in entrepreneurial endeavors whatsoever at all, that I'd rather have 1,000 real buyers, 1,000 real aligned individuals than 100,000 tire kickers. So that's why I make this message. I don't sugarcoat jack. I'm going to be who I am, and I don't care what others think about who I am. That being said, there is a balance of, hey, if 99% of the world is frustrated with you, anxious around you, giving you weird looks, maybe you should take a step back and look at yourself and see, like, all right, maybe the opinions of others aren't really just shallow opinions, but that's actually higher level communication, synchronicity via God, universe, Christ. See, some Christians will get so triggered when I do that, and I don't care. I don't give a single fuck. And you know what? That's not to say fuck Christianity. That is more so to say fuck the Pharisees. Fuck the religious scholars who think they can recite and remember scripture without actually living it. That's whom I'm talking to right here. And if you feel that in your heart, again, that it's like when Christ said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan." His own disciple. He could be that ruthless with. You know what? I encourage you to adopt that level of alignment in your life where you can be so straightforward, so honest with individuals. And that doesn't mean you judge them. That doesn't mean that Peter remains Satan. That's not it. The point is that there are moments in which the enemy or darkness or illusion or anxiety, jealousy, fear, it's all the same shit. Low vibrations, all right? It's all the same shit. Now, when I say that, I'll have specific episodes on dissolving jealousy, anxiety, understanding specifics. But back to the point. The things that you can't not do, they don't need to make you money. For example, like me weightlifting, walking my dog, jujitsu. Maybe those things do end up making me money. But there's this balance of, man, I'm going to learn practical skill sets and understand economics and supply and demand. My life isn't about money, all right? In your life, understand that if you look at like the numbers, 10 bill versus 10 mil, there comes a point where you have 10 mil. Sure, the gap between 10 mil and 10 bill is huge. At that point, money is just numbers, you know? And life is more than numbers. Life is so much more and deeper than measurement, than the logical, rational, planning mind. That's Satan, if you will. Now, in other words, the moment that you get into I in me, that's where you lose Christ. That's where you lose God. God is in the the essence of I am. I am. That's all God is I am. Everything after is bullshit. So the journey is you doing the work to notice the moments in which identity projects onto the clear canvas, which is consciousness, right? Some people say Christ consciousness. How could he move in the way that he moved? How could he heal? How did he have the power to change water to wine? If you get it, you get it. And if you don't, do not give up. So the realization of, man, excitement is almost in correlation to flattery. You know, if I really care about someone, the last thing I'm going to do is flatter. I'm not going to do any weak pussy shit to massage someone else's ego. Now, there'll be moments we play, we laugh, we joke. It's part of life. You cannot have the spirit, the purity, without being in a vessel, without being in a body. All right? But simultaneously, there is this awakening that cannot be refuted in myself and others, in the world, in humanity. And that awakening is really a revelation in relationship to thy heart, to thyself, to awareness of what is on top of the canvas, right? You have a painting and you paint that picture. Yeah, the painting's beautiful, but without that blank canvas, you don't have a painting. You do not. So can we remember what we are, please, with the blank canvas? Can we realize that all these opinions, these worldviews, these biases, these projections, these emotions, energy or emotion, rather, emotion equals energy in motion. So what does that mean? It means that we need to have the sensitivity, that awareness to notice how we are kind of lacking rhythm in motion. In other words, stagnation. In other words, friction. In other words, you can feel this in your motherfucking nervous system. You can feel it in your gut. You can feel it in your mind. You can notice thinking. You can unravel, reverse engineer stimulus, trigger, tension, rumination, giving away of energy, loss of purity, ego running the show. The mind is meant to be a servant and not the master. Again, if you know, you know. I'm at this point where I'm done doing certain things. All right. So if you know, you know. And if you don't get it, watch videos of me from years ago. All right. Because I love you. I know sometimes this seems fiery. I know sometimes that I am. I am filled with a fury which will be and is harnessed, and it is pointed. Again, I'm irrelevant. The speaker does not matter whatsoever. I do not matter whatsoever. What matters is point number 3, the long game. Showing up when the passion dies, but the purpose remains. Woo-hoo-hoo. You're going to have things in your life that just thrust you to rock bottom, make you lick the obsidian on the depths of hell. You know, those moments, those periods, those phases, they do nothing but strengthen. They do nothing but show you your own fallacies, your own weakness, your own illusions, how you fall into an absolute worthwhile game. How do I put it? The fall is part of the rise. Without falling, you can't understand the importance in mission. So, what we're really looking at here is when your passion dies and your purpose remains, you learn to see what invigorates you each day, what keeps you alive, what makes you vital. With commitment and devotion and prayer and discipline in relationship to vitality, hey, this game is about being. It's about being alive. And hey, we're all going to be off this planet inevitably. So why not juice the lemons that Source has given you? Christ, God, consciousness itself. You will be facing tribulation, heartbreak, being bullied, being broke, anxiety, insecurity, fear, doubt. All of it is in your hands. It's an energy gifted to you to transmute. You know, when you have oranges, when you have lemons, you could just leave them there, let them dry out, or you could juice them when they're ripe. You see, the more that you do not take advantage of the fuel that God has given you, the harder it gets to continue to walk. But when you live with care, compassion, love, and awareness, it's only natural that you are living a living embodiment of change. And that's what life is about. Life, the only constant is change. An object in motion stays in motion. Look at the nature of physics, physiology, momentum, nature. Look for synchronicity within the trees in the nervous system, the branches. Look at your hands. Look at the inside of a tree trunk when it's cut. It's all in front of us. It's directly in front of us. But what we do, we get so lost in who we want to be, who we think ourselves to be, what we desire. Fuck that. Fuck that. You know, I love you. You know you're strong. You know you're beautiful. And you know that God runs through you. God and you are one, and yet God is greater than you. God and I are one, and yet God is greater than I. Amen. I pray for you. I send you strength. I send you courage. I send you love. I send you power. I send you abundance. I send you clarity. I send you the epiphanies and insights which will crack open the veil. I love you very much. New episodes are out Monday, Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If this hit you, if this resonated with you, do me one favor. You know what it is? Share it with a motherfucking friend. Let's go. Have a great day.